Things are starting to get interesting for the Chicago Bears in both the NFC playoff picture and in the division as well. So on today's show, we're going to kind of take a look at where the Bears stand in comparison to these other NFC teams as you're kind of starting to figure out who's in the mix and who's not when it comes to, the second half of the season, which is the point we are at in 2025. My name is Harrison Graham. This is Chicago Bears Now. I never thought I'd say this, but fly, Eagles, fly. They found a way to win a just slugfest of a game, 10-7 over the Packers, and that helped the Bears leapfrog Green Bay, not only in the playoff picture, but also in the NFC North. So a very, very good day it was for the Bears yesterday and, of course, last night. And you know what to do if you hate the Packers. So get the FGB chants going down in the comment section below. Packers, something feels off. There's deep rumors, Matt LaFleur hot seat. I don't know. That would be quite the decision, but FGB is down in the comments. All right. This is where the NFC North sits through Week 10. The Lions and Bears both at 6-3. The Lions do hold the tiebreaker for head-to-head, but the Bears will get a second crack at them in Week 18. The Packers are now in third place at 5-3-1, and then the Minnesota Vikings sitting there at 4-5. The Bears' remaining schedule is as follows: at Minnesota this week. Obviously, a big game for both teams. Steelers at home, at Philadelphia on Black Friday, at the Packers in Week 14, Browns at home in Week 15, Packers at home in Week 16, and then at the 49ers, which could be a big one for the wild card picture, and then, like I said, finishing at home against Detroit. The Vikings' remaining schedule, Bears this week, and then at Green Bay, at Seattle. I think if you're Minnesota, if you lose this week to the Bears, you're probably done. Commanders at home, at Dallas on Sunday night, at the Giants. So that 3-week stretch, if they can hang around, they could still be in the mix there. Lions on Christmas, and then the Packers at home to finish. And like I said it in our preview video, I'll say it again. I think the Bears can essentially knock the Vikings at least out of the division race with a win on Sunday, because the Bears would be 7-3. TBD if Green Bay and Detroit win this week, but the Vikings would be all the way down at 4-6, and that's with Green Bay and Seattle on the road coming up the next 2 weeks. So I think they could get into the wild card hunt still, Minnesota, but the division race I think would officially be a 3-team race at that point. Detroit at Philadelphia Sunday night. Let's keep rooting for the Eagles there because they're going to win their division regardless. So it doesn't really impact the Bears. Giants at home, Packers at home, Cowboys on Thursday Night Football, part of 3 straight home games there. At the Rams in Week 15, Steelers in Week 16 at home, and then at Minnesota, at Chicago to finish. Could you imagine if we got a Detroit-Chicago Soldier Field winner wins the NFC North, Dan Campbell versus Ben Johnson, as Campbell's now calling plays as well? That would be certainly exciting. That's a gauntlet of a schedule. I mean, Giants at home is a game Detroit will almost certainly win. But other than that, all those games are really, really hard for the Lions. So, I think they're the team to beat in the division, but they're going to have to earn it. There's no question about that. And then the Packers at Giants this week. Could we get the old interim head coach boost? Shout out Mike Kafka. Let's go. Packers struggling a bit too. Vikings at home, at the Lions. Bears at Broncos, at Bears, and then Ravens, who they're rolling now. They get them at home, though, and then at the Vikings to finish up. And like I said, the Packers are kind of in a funk right now. Like Jordan Love seemed like he was playing really well. Then the last 2 weeks against Carolina and last night against Philadelphia did not play well. They really missed Tucker Kraft also, and he's not coming back. That offense is kind of stuck in the mud right now, and Packers fans are asking LaFleur to be fired. Such a spoiled fan base. It's unbelievable, but they are definitely in a funk. And look, I think for all these reasons, tough schedules, Green Bay not playing super well, I think the North is up for grabs. Now, I think Detroit's the favorite, and they should be, but they have a brutal schedule the rest of the way. Like the Bears' schedule is hard. I actually think Detroit's is harder the final 8 weeks. And I think with how Green Bay's playing right now, I think the Bears are the second favorite. Like I really, really do. The betting odds probably would not reflect that. And, things can change. Green Bay could certainly flip a switch. But the way they've looked the last 2 weeks, I've been pretty underwhelmed. Especially with their offense. Who do you guys think wins the NFC North? Type CHI for the Bears, type DET for the Lions, FGB for the Packers, or MIN for the Minnesota Vikings. All right, we'll take a look at the NFC playoff picture as a whole coming up here in just a moment, but today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. The best place to play daily fantasy sports is PrizePicks, and the hard-hitting football action is even better with PrizePicks. The weather might be changing, but the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on PrizePicks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Cool feature on PrizePicks, you can follow other PrizePicks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click, including me. Go to the feed tab, search at @HGramNFL. You can follow my lineups, whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or someone whose picks you like. Hit the follow button and check out their lineups in the feed tab. The way PrizePicks works is simple. You pick more or less on 2 to 6 player lineups, and you submit. And I got a simple little 2-player lineup. This week, I took more on Caleb Williams' rushing yards. He's been using his legs, especially in key moments the last few weeks. And then I took less on J.J. McCarthy's passing yards. I know the Bears' secondary, especially outside corner, has been a bit of a struggle, but he has not played well the last couple of weeks. I know they beat Detroit, but that was more so for their defense. $20 lineup there to win 55. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it is good to be right. Okay, the NFC playoff picture is as follows, and the Bears are the 6th seed. We're not, the last few years we were just begging, just be in the hunt section in November and December. Right now, they are the 6th seed in the NFC. So this is real. The Bears are in the mix. Now, how good are they? Are they going to make the playoffs? That's what we're going to find out as the schedule ramps up. But at minimum, the Bears are in the mix, and these games are going to matter. These games, the rest of the way, are going to matter. There's none of this like trying to fake pretend that these games are important in December like we've had to do the last few years, or cheering to lose almost because of draft positioning. It's like, no. These games are meaningful, and it's been a while since we could say that, talking mid-late November and on into December, and hopefully January for the Bears as well. The way I see this right now, I think 2 of 7 NFC playoff spots are clinched. Now, this isn't officially clinched, obviously. Like, they have not won enough games to mathematically clinch, but the NFC East especially, I mean, the Eagles are, 7-2, 8-2, 7-2. The next closest team is the Cowboys at 3-5-1. That division's over. So that's one playoff spot. The only thing to figure out is where among the top 4 seeds Philadelphia finishes up, but they're in. That's over. I think the same is true with Tampa. They haven't been playing as great the rest of the way recently. They're 6-3 right now. But Carolina's the closest team at 5-5. I'm not a big believer in the Panthers. Clearly, the Saints are not going to make a push, and Atlanta, especially losing that game to the Colts to fall to 3-6, they're just too far back. So let's just kind of assume that those 2 teams are in, barring a surprise, especially in the NFC East. That one is basically over. But barring some major injury for Tampa, I think they're going to win that division as well. So that's going to be 2 of the 7 playoff spots, 2 of the top 4 seeds, because the division winners get the top 4 seeds. So what's for grabs is the NFC North, which we broke down, all 4 teams in the mix, but the Bears could kind of knock Minnesota out with a win this weekend. The NFC West, which, similar to the North, if it ends up being 3 teams, 3-team race right now, especially with Seattle and the Rams, with the 49ers still in the mix. And then the 3 wildcard spots, which will probably come from teams out of the North and the West that don't end up winning the division. So here's kind of the breakdown. 8 teams for 5 spots. Again, Philadelphia, Tampa, we're assuming they're going to make it there. You got Seattle and LA. I think they're both going to make it, just a matter of who wins the division. You got Chicago and Detroit tied atop the North. Obviously, Detroit's got the tiebreaker there. Green Bay at 5-3-1, San Francisco at 6-4, and then I'll include Carolina and Minnesota. I'm not a believer in the Panthers. If J.J. McCarthy could find something, I still like the Vikings roster a lot. I think they're a good, well-coached team, but they obviously have to make up some ground here as well. So you could really say it's 6 teams for 5 spots, but I'll give Carolina and Minnesota the benefit of the doubt for now. But let's face it, the Vikings are on the ropes. They have to beat the Bears this weekend, and the Panthers just aren't that good. Now, playing a bad division they're going to have some winnable games, but I don't think it's going to be enough. You lose the Saints 17-7 at home in a game you got to get. You're just not convincing me. But for now, they're still in the mix. So some important games for this upcoming week. Obviously, for the Bears at the Vikings, we talked about it. You can kind of eliminate them there. Packers at Giants this weekend. Can you get that interim boost? If Jackson Dart clears concussion protocol, I think the Giants have a shot in that game. They've been scrappy. Lions at Eagles. Fly, Eagles, fly again. Again, we don't really need to worry about Philadelphia because they're going to win their division. Seahawks at Rams. That has major NFC West implications, obviously. 49ers at Cardinals. Can the Cardinals pull off the upset? That would be helpful because I think the Niners are going to be a team that the Bears specifically could be jockeying with for a wild card spot. And then Buccaneers at Bills. Anytime an NFC team is facing an AFC playoff team, or an AFC team, we're rooting for the AFC. That's what we're rooting for. Again, don't worry too much about Tampa because they're going to win their division probably, but still, anytime they play an AFC team, we want the AFC team to win. All right, there you have it. Little breakdown. We're 10 weeks in. We'll probably have weekly updates on this, where the playoff picture sits as we move forward, especially as long as the Bears are in the mix and barring losing 6 in a row or something like that, they're going to be in the mix the rest of the way. The question is, will they make the playoffs? What say you? Type Y for yes, they will. Type N for no, they will not. That's going to do it for this edition of Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody who made it to the end of the episode. If you did, that makes you a real one. If you made it to the end of the episode and you haven't subscribed, I would encourage you guys to do so. We publish free and daily content here on the channel. We'll see you guys soon, and as always, bear down.